Welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Shop Talk with Tyler Collins and Tyler Collins Racing. All right, Tyler, thanks for having us. We appreciate you doing a Shop Talk with us. My first question I always ask people is, how did you get into racing?
Well, thanks for you guys for being here and and coming out and doing this. I got into racing. I don't know. I guess how old am I? 28. So 28 years ago, my grandpa got us started. He ended up running Brownstown for a while and then buying Twin Cities, and I think he ran Bloomington too and Scottsburg, and he kind of got into it and promoted a bunch of tracks. And then so my dad and uncle, they grew up at the racetrack, working for him, and being teenagers and running the water truck and stuff, and so they were in it real young. And then I think what happened, there was my grandpa owed my dad and uncle money for something, like jobs that they were doing, or maybe from the sale. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he owed them money from work that they'd been doing for him with the racing stuff. And he said, do you want this? I can get you this money, or this other guy owes me money, but he was offering me this race car. He said, I can either give you what I owe you, or we can just work this out and you guys can have this race car. And they chose the race car.
Really?
So, and then my dad, he didn't want to drive, but my uncle did, and my dad just liked working on stuff. So that's how my uncle kind of got started, and they ended up, loving it and loving going racing more than working at the racetrack.
Right.
So then I think Tori started in the late 80s. Tori started racing, and then just took off from there. Tori racing late models and doing pretty good in the Northern All-Star Series, things like that. And so then when I was born in '93, and then I grew up going to the races with him, and while he was, traveling all over doing racing, whenever my dad would take me, I'd go with him, and I fell in love with it. And I always wanted to race, and my dad said, not till you're 15. And I was like, well, that seems unfair, but okay.
Right.
So then I turned 15, and my dad's like, not till you're 18. And I was like, well, this sucks.
Right.
So then I turned 18. He's like, when you graduate college. I was like, come on, like I just want to race,
Right.
And but I ended up going to IUPUI for 2 years studying motorsports engineering and mechanical engineering, and then I left school to work at Cummins, and then continue to I'm still going to school now, but getting a mechanical engineering technician job at Cummins. And then once I did that, and I started making my own money, I found a guy who was selling out a racing trailer, car, everything. And I told Dad, I'm like, I'm buying this and I'm going racing. I was like, you gonna help me, or, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna help you.
Right.
So I just did that, and then that was in 2017. So bought my first car, race ready. Made the mistake of thinking that if it was race ready, that it was ready for me. And so I didn't. Tori's stuff was always Rayburn swing arm stuff, and this was a Masterbuilt 4-bar car. It was a 2014 Masterbuilt. It was a good car, but it just wasn't set up right for me, and we didn't know how to tune on it. It was me and Dad, and he hadn't done much setup stuff for Tori. He did like engine mechanical stuff. And this kind of the same thing he does for me. He just makes sure the car doesn't fall apart and runs like it's supposed to, and which he does a really, really good job at. But then, we were both just scratching our head trying to figure out how to get going. And so then by the end of 2017, I'd become friends with Justin Shaw, and he started helping me set up the race car. And at the end of 2017, going into 2018, I took the car to his shop, and he went through the whole thing with me and taught me a bunch of stuff, and we got new shocks for it, and started getting into what's really important for a late model. And then came out 2018, almost won the first race of the year, almost won the next couple races after that. Was just up front all year 2018, and it was just that's what really kicked it off. I feel like for me, of thinking I can do this, I can be good at this, I think, and with his help, and then it just kind of evolved from there. Bought a new car in 2019. Didn't really like it. It had some issues. We were trying to figure it out. Struggled a lot of 2019. Then 2020, figured some things out. Won a couple features again. 2020, I also went down to Tennessee and raced with the American All-Star Series. And those guys down south are really, really good, especially crate racers. There's good racers all over the country. And there's good racers right here in Indiana, but just crate racing started in Tennessee, and it's been kind of ahead of where we are in Indiana for a while. So 2020, we went down there and got our butts kicked a lot, learned a lot, and then realized that I needed to just kind of find a car that suited me better. So going into 2021, we've bought this Capital car here. It was an old Shane Clanton car, and then just kind of fell in love with it, and it worked out really good for us last year. It took us a while to got some bad luck at first, but once we hit our stride, we started winning some features, and then came out this year pretty hot. And like I said, I really feel like just starting the way I did and just jumping right into late models, it was kind of hard at first. I didn't know if I could do it, but then like I said, once I got hooked up with Justin and started really getting up front a few times and leading some laps and some features and winning a feature or two, I was like, I really, really feel like if we stick with this, we can be good at it. So right now, that's still what I'm trying to prove, is that we can, we're here, and we can hopefully move up to the next level here before too long, and keep this going.
So with the way your season started out, we've talked about it before. We talked about Saturday at Peregrine. I was doing GoPro footage for you, but the crate class is so competitive, and to be, one of the top in the top 5 every week, that's got to say something for your program and where you've come from and where you're at now.
Absolutely. And I, like back in 2017, even 2018, like I was up front, but like there was a select few guys that you could just tell on almost every week were just better. Like Marty O'Neill, 2017, 2018, he was just whooping everybody. And occasionally somebody would come in and they'd beat him, but like as far as like just consistently being fast, like there was nobody who was comparable to him. And then so myself, Tyler Kane, Tyler Neal, Steve Peden, we all started about the same time, within like 2 or 3 years, within 2 years of each other, I think. We all got our start in late models. I know that those 3 guys, they ran other classes before. I was the only one to jump in and just jump into a late model. But, Marty was kind of kicking our butts, and I felt like those guys, probably from their experience in other classes and stuff, they accelerated quicker than I did, and they started battling up front more consistently than me. And they started being other people I was chasing. And then I think finally, once we got a few more years experience, and we were able to prove that we can still run with those guys too. And now that's what we're doing. is it is really, really tight in the crate class. And, Chad Stapleton's another one. He's got a lot of years of experience. He did some crate and super for a while, and now he's still doing crate and super stuff. And he's been out the last few weeks with engine. But as soon as he gets back, he's going to be right there with us. Right. And it's just it's a real battle all week to beat these guys. It's not something that it's just like you get to the racetrack and you figure out like your setup is usually decided before you get to the racetrack, and especially when you're racing at Brownstown every week, and what little stuff do I need to change, or making sure that your tire game is where it should be, making sure that you go through the car and you didn't hurt something a little bit or anything here, because it's a very little bit that separates all of us up front.
Right.
And it's sometimes that translates into a guy that gets out front and just walks away with it. He gets the clean air, but if he was better all night and he started up front, if a guy walks away and leaves us in a feature, he really did something special that night, because the next night somebody else could do the same thing. And
right.
it's fighting for that little bit, like I said, all week in the garage, and then when you get to the track and just not making mistakes, not making the wrong decision. And it makes it, I think, a lot of fun. It makes it way more interesting than just, I've said it before, I would much rather have just a dogfight in the feature and come out second than then go somewhere where there's no competition and lead every lap and just get a trophy.
Right.
It's like, if there's places where you can go and do that. You can go to certain racetracks and the competition level isn't there, and you could just win every feature. But to me, that's not like what we have going right now with the battles up front. It makes better racers. It makes all of us better.
Right.
And it's definitely a lot better for the fans.
It makes the hard work worth it too.
Absolutely.
You get some reward out of the hard work that you put in all week.
Absolutely. And I firmly believe that all of us that run up front in the crate class, the only thing that's separating us from the super guys is money. We just don't have the money that they have. If somebody would come along and give all of us, 50 grand and say, buy this engine and stuff, and here you go, we would all be battling up front in the super features with the same, with Devin and with Chad and with Jared and the good super guys. Don't get me wrong, those guys, I'm not saying we go out and beat them. Right. I don't feel like we're in any way any worse race car drivers. We're just it's not like the crate class is lower than the super class, I think. It's
right.
But it goes the same way down, you take a good super stock guy, you take like Sasser or Chastain or any of those guys, or the modified guys, and you give them a late model ride and give them plenty of money, it'd be the same thing.
Right.
It's just
it's just a tier system.
Yeah, it's how much backing do you have, or how much money do you make, and where do you apply it, and then where do you see your racing career going, or how do you want to get there?
Right. So bringing that up, do you see yourself moving up to the super level at some point in time?
I hope so. We do have a super engine that's being built by Travis right now, but it's not anything it's not anything to go World 100 or try and compete, or even Florence or anything like that. It's a pretty good Brownstown engine. It won't make a bunch more power than our crate, but it should make enough to where we think we could be competitive enough to try, and then just see if my theory is right, see if I can compete with those guys, if I have more horsepower, and then hopefully down the line, if it looks like we can, then we can figure out what do I have to do to get a better engine to where we can try more super engine, or what do I have to do to try and get some help, see if anybody wants to support us to where we could do that.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely, that's something I definitely want to at least try. I want to see if I can before I end up at some point running out of money and being like, I can't do this anymore.
Right. What's your biggest accomplishment so far?
Winning my grandpa's memorial, and then backing it up the next year and winning the memorial for my grandma and my grandpa. I think that's for sure. there was just a lot of, there's a lot of emotion going into
Right.
that kind of a race, and it's just, there's more money on the line. There's more competition that shows up. There's it's just a lot of the stress in general, the pressure that gets put on it almost makes it seem harder. So it to be able to just overcome all that and do the one thing that you set out to do for that year just really feels special. It's like we talk about it every year, but it's like if I don't win a race all year and I win that one,
That's
it's enough.
Right.
That's fine. So it's it's like, well, we got one race we care about this year. All the other ones are just cool. Like you win those, it's like awesome. That's really cool. You win this one, it's like that's it. It's like winning World 100
Well, yeah.
for anybody else.
Right.
So to be able to do that back-to-back years, to be able to do that for my grandma, the last one that she was there for my grandpa, and then the first memorial also for her, it just made everything so special. She was like the biggest supporter of mine. She always said she was scared to watch me race and stuff, but there was nobody who cheered louder than her in the stands
Right.
for me and for Tori. She loved it. She loved watching us race. She loved going down there and talking to everybody, and we miss her a lot. But it's cool to have their legacy continue on with the memorial race,
Right.
and for people to support them like that and do the things for them, and for us to be able to go out there and win that.
Right. So that'll conclude this part of the interview process. What we're going to do now is we're going to walk around the shop. We'll check some stuff out, especially your sponsors on the car.
Yeah.
Because I always like to make sure you get your sponsors out there, because every driver knows without a lot of the sponsors, a lot of this stuff can't happen. So we'll do some GoPro footage, and we'll do some more talking, and we'll walk around the car and we'll check it out. So. All right, so now we're going to have Tyler show us around the shop a little bit. Obviously, this car in the background was the 2022 car that you're running this year. Talk about some of your sponsors.
So I got Tail Feather Farm Market out of North Vernon. Sell a bunch of home cooked goods and kind of like Amish made food items, cheese, all kinds of different things. And then you go in there and get lunch and stuff. S&M Precast down in Henryville, precast concrete. M2 Designs, custom race cups. Megan and Morgan out of Paragon or Martinsville. They did some awesome cups for us. They do
an awesome job.
They do a great job. Valvoline. Valvoline helps us out big, gives us oil for the car, and makes sure that we stay running. I abuse the heck out of this engine. If I'm out front, I don't look at my gauges, and I just say whatever happens, and so far nothing's happened. So they make great oil. LuLaRoe, Debbie Collins, my mom's LuLaRoe Clothing down in North Vernon. She's got a boutique down there. Black Belt Racing Parts Supply, Kevin Fleetwood over in Brownstown. Buy fuel and parts and these stacked racing panels that we put on the right side from him. Lee's Tire 4x4, Brittley down in Crothersville. He helps us out. Gives a good pricing. We pop trailer tires, or actually, even if we get holes in our racing tires, and as expensive as those are, take them down there and have him patch them. And he always takes really good care of us. Justin Shaw, Superheat Solutions on the front. Talked about him before, but he helps us out just a ton. Shocks, parts, anything really racing related that I ever need. He's there. He's got me covered, and I can't thank him enough for all the help. Travis Kern Racing Engines. Again, I don't look at my gauges. I just run the heck out of this thing, and he just builds a great piece, and takes care of us over the off season when we need rebuilds or whatever's going on. And like he's building our other engine right now. So then we got all my product sponsors: MLR Fabricating, Weir's Machine, Simpson, Velocita, Earnhardt Technology Group, Pro Fabrication, Crate Insider, Penske Racing Shocks, Swift Springs, Dynamic Customs, Capital Race Cars, Gorsuch Performance, and Stop Tech Brakes. I can't think Marshall and them down at Capital Race Cars enough for being so much help since we bought this, and really being just super easy to deal with whenever we have questions about anything.
It goes a long way.
It really does. You know, having a chassis manufacturer, especially as big as they are, that is just there to help and make sure that all their guys are. They want all their cars to win races. They don't just want the guys out on tour. They want everybody from the guys who, you know, race against 3 other guys at a track that gets 10 fans, or a guy that's, you know, on the stage of World 100. They want all the guys in their race cars to win.
It means a lot.
It really does.
So one thing we want to talk about too is, this is what I love about doing these shop talks, is old door panels and that type of stuff. So you have door panels from 2017. 2017. Did you already get those, Roy? Did you get those in there?
Yeah, we got.
So these are in order.
Yeah, so I got a door from every year that we race, and every year we change up the design at least a little bit. So we got 2017, the first car when I first got into racing, and then 2018 right below it, and then that's the filler panel from 2018. My buddy Zach Hummel, his gym up in Indianapolis, Iron Valley Barbell. He sponsored me that year and helped me out, and we took the car up to his gym and his charity that he had going on, the Champion Water Initiative. He was helping bring fresh water to rural places in Africa. So he was raising money to do, like, I think they were digging wells out and making sure that everybody in Africa had supply of fresh, clean water. So we went up, helped out with that. This is from 2019. This is I did a Prism number. It looked really cool. And then we just kind of kept a similar design. 2020, we went with the black number. And then 2021 last year, the first year with the Capital car. I think all the cars I've had, and I've liked how they've all looked. I don't think I've had a car I didn't like the way it looked. I've had different graphics companies over the years, and they all did great jobs. I don't have a single bad thing to say about anybody. They're all great people to work with. Right now we're with Slicker Graphics still, but like I said, I think every year we've had a good looking race car.
So when we walked in, we noticed this hood. What's the story behind this hood? Because I think this is just a cool deal here.
So yeah, this is from my 2018 car again, and it was just something we decided that leave the hood blank and just let anybody who came by sign the hood. Fans, you know, at the racetrack, fan appreciation night, or just any normal night walking through the pit area, or people came by the shop just to say hey or whatever. Just anybody who wanted to just come by and sign the hood all season, and then at the end of the year, this is what it looked like. And we just, you know, obviously I wanted to keep it and make sure I hang it up on the wall. And we actually ended up giving I think I shot a Nerf gun at whoever's name it hit. I just blindfolded myself and shot a Nerf gun and gave a T-shirt away to one random fan.
That's awesome.
That I landed on.
That's just a cool deal there.
For sure.
Definitely, you know, appreciation for fans. I mean, that's what, because there's a lot of people that, you know, like you mentioned earlier, that will come back by or whatever and be like, I signed your hood, you know, back 2018.
And like, it's really cool. Yeah, I've seen, you know, kids come back by and they're like, oh my God, do you remember me signing your hood? And of course I say yes. Like, you know, I don't remember everybody who did, but it's, you know, it's awesome to me that they do that. That's
right.
And you know, I remember being a little kid at the racetrack and you know, seeing drivers and you know, being like, oh man, that guy's so cool.
Right.
And you know, if they paid attention to you at all, you're like, oh, that's awesome.
Right.
And you know, for them to have a memorable experience in some way, you know, that'll make them want to go back to the races.
Right. And that's the future of the sport, whether it's drivers or fans. And I'll be honest with you, Tyler just brought this up, but every shop needs diapers. You got diapers in here. Did you get a video of the diapers? We need to check diapers out. Where's the diapers at?
They're over there on the shelf. I got a few. They're hanging out below the really dirty workbench.
Yeah. So see, every race shop needs toys, golf clubs, and Pampers.
Yeah. So you gotta
Let's
have
throw that in there. You gotta have it.
Yeah.
We're always getting a close up of the diapers.
Gotta have
Every
them.
race
Gotta
shop's
have
gotta
the-
have diapers.
The tire groover right next to the
Yep,
Huggies.
right next to the Huggies.
That's just the some of the fun parts of trying to be a small time racer and a growing family
Yep.
and trying to balance everything at the
Family
same time
racing.
and really dirty garage and
The one cool part about this too, like we talked about on the phone, before we come up here, is the cool aspect of it is everybody, thinks of race car drivers every race car driver's got this elegant shop, and the cool part about it is being competitive, staying up front, and it doesn't matter if it's a 1-car garage or 4,000 square foot shop.
Yeah.
It's just all about staying on top of your game, grinding away and making it happen. So.
yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank you again, Tyler, for letting us come up. Thank you, everybody, for watching Shop Talk, following Flag to Flag Media on all the social media, and subscribing to the YouTube channel for all this great content. We've got a lot of more Shop Talks lined up. We've been thankful to meet a lot of good drivers along the way. So thanks for watching. Thank you again for having us up
Yeah,
and letting us
absolutely.
do this.
Thank you guys for coming.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video and the channel, because we're just going to keep it growing, and we'll see you guys down the road at another shop. So thank you again, Tyler. Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thank you guys for watching.